Which leads to another article by someone we reference a lot on this show, Rex Woodbury, who writes for Digital Native. It's his publication, Digital Native. And he has another one out called The Design of Everyday Things. And I'm a huge fan and believer in design thinking, and this idea of using a design-centric approach to creating anything. And basically what he talks about in here is the fact that AI tools have gotten a little bit too in love with their own technology and are failing this test of how are we solving a problem with it. And that one of the key functions of that, of how do you know you're doing it, is that it should be intuitive, that it should, he uses an example of doors, that if you need to put a sign on your door, push or pull, it's designed poorly. It
Hmm.
should become instinctive to understand how to use it. And the same thing with these AI tools is that they should, and I talk a lot about ambient technology, this idea that we should have AI, we should have technology just be infused into our workflows, and it just happens at the right moment, at the right time, and it's intuitive to us. And I think that goes hand in hand. So even if you've solved for the article, the CIO article we talked about, or the Wall Street Journal article, you've solved for the value problem. You still need to solve for the design problem, that it actually gets used by applying these design thinking attributes and approaching it properly. And in fact, interestingly enough, I think that's where Notebook LM has actually had some success, because it is so stinking easy, right? You get this thing, you just click and drag your stuff into it, and then click a button, and it's like bam, right? And you just instinctively understand how to apply it and how to get value out of it. And if you haven't looked at it, it's designed for like research, so it's great if you're a student. That's the use case, and it's brilliant. And so I think there's a lot to be learned from that. And I think I'm actually very hopeful that we're at the cusp of this sort of shift where we start looking at all of this in a different light.
And I think Rex brings up a point again that we talked about earlier in the show about how more is not necessarily better. More text does not mean you have provided better direction. Just because you provide a 1900 word terms and conditions document does not mean you have done a better job of describing whether to push or pull a door open.
He also talks about it. He uses the term discoverability, which is users figuring out what they can do with the tool. And obviously, this doesn't really apply to the door example, but I think it's very contextual in the case of AI, because the thing that I talk about a lot is the imagination gap. The fact that we as an industry have programmed users to interact with their systems in a very dumb manner, frankly, right? And now with AI, we have the opportunity to truly open up that window and create much more immersive, much more conversational, much more contextual ways of interacting. Where it's like it's not just show me, and the example he has, it's not just show me white pants, but it's like I'm going on vacation. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. What do you suggest? Right? Well, that's a different way of interacting that a lot of people aren't used to. And